There is a whiteboard in a classroom in Mumbai. 8 lines. Simple handwriting. A poem. Most people who read it think it is just a beautiful quote. But this poem is a riddle, a prophecy, and the answer to it is one of the greatest stories ever told. All that is gold does not glitter. Not all those who wander are lost. The old that is strong does not wither. Deep roots are not reached by the frost. From the ashes a fire shall be woken, a light from the shadows shall spring. Renewed shall be blade that was broken, the crownless again shall be king. That was written by J.R.R. Tolkien. Inside the novel, it is written by a wizard in a letter about a man that no one trusts, no one recognizes, and no one believes could be a king. Today, I am going to tell you that man's story, and I am going to show you line by line how this poem predicted everything. All that is gold does not glitter. In a land called Middle Earth, a baby boy was born into a bloodline so ancient and so powerful that it made him a target from birth. His name was Aragon. He was the heir of kings stretching back thousands of years to a race of men called the Numenorians. Men who were taller, wiser, long lived than any ordinary human. But his father was killed when he was only 2 years old. To protect him, his mother hid him among the elves. She gave him a false name, Estel. It means hope. He grew up not knowing who he was, the most valuable person in Middle Earth, raised in secret, living in shadow, not glittering, not seen. Not all those who wander are lost. When Aaron turned 20, the truth was revealed to him. He was the chieftain of the Dunedain, the last heir of the ancient kings of men. And what followed was nearly 80 years of wandering. He became a ranger, a guardian with no title, no throne, no recognition. He patrolled the borders of peaceful lands. He kept ordinary people safe from darkness they never even knew existed. And he went by the name Strider, the most important man in the world, living like nobody. He was not lost, he was waiting. He was becoming the old that is strong, does not wither. In those wandering years, Aragon fell in love. Her name was Orwen, daughter of the elf lord Erlond. Half elf she was, and which meant she carried within her the gift of immortality. But her father refused the union. His condition was simple and devastating. Becoming king of both Gondor and Arnor first, only then could Aragorn ask for his daughter's hand. So Aragorn carried his love for decades inside him, carried it through battle and loss and cold and silence, and it did not die, it did not fade. That is what an old, strong thing looks like. It does not wither. Deep roots are not reached by the frost. His ancestor, the great king Isildur, had once stood at the edge of Mount Doom with Sauron defeated. He held that one ring in his hand. He had one job, destroy it. He did not. He kept it, and that single moment of weakness echoed through the centuries of suffering. Aragorn knew this, and it terrified him. He feared his bloodline was a curse, not a gift. This is the most human part of the story. Not the sword, not the crown. A man afraid that who he comes from will decide what he is capable of. But deep roots, true roots, are not reached by frost. The weakness of one ancestor does not define the strength of the one who follows. From the ashes a fire shall be woken, a light from the shadows shall spring. The war with the Dark Lord Sauron reaches its peak. Aragorn makes a decision no living man would dare. He walks into a haunted mountain. Inside lives the dead, an army of soldiers cursed for thousands of years because they broke an oath to his ancestor. They could not rest, trapped between living and dying. They could only be freed by one person, the true heir of the king they had betrayed. Aragorn walked in and he commanded the dead, and they obeyed because even the dead could feel the truth in his blood. From ashes an army, from shadow a light, a king stepping forward from the darkness he had hidden in for over 80 years. Renewed shall be blade that was broken. Do you remember this sword? The ancestral sword Narsil, shattered in the ancient battle against Sauron. Aragon had carried its broken pieces his entire life. Before the final war, the elves reforged it whole again, stronger than before. They renamed it Anduril, Flame of the West, and Aragon finally raised it not as a ranger hiding in the wilderness, but as a king going to war. What was broken, renewed. What was shattered, made whole. The crownless again shall be king. He led a small, exhausted army to the black gates of Mordor, outnumbered beyond reason. It was a suicide mission. Everyone knew it, and Aragorn stood before his men, not with false promises, not with lies about survival. He looked at them and said, "A day may come when the courage of men fails, but it is not this day. This day we fight," and they fought. Frodo destroyed the ring. Sauron fell, and Aragorn Elessar Telcontar was crowned king of Gondor. The man who had spent 80 years in the wilderness, hiding his name, guarding people who never knew he existed, carrying a broken sword and buried crown, was finally, at last, exactly where he was always supposed to be. He married Orwin. The crownless was king. All that is gold does not glitter, not all those who wander are lost. The old that is strong does not wither, deep roots are not reached by the frost. From the ashes a fire shall be woken, a light from the shadows shall spring. Renewed shall be blade that was broken, the crownless again shall be king. This poem is not about Middle Earth. It is about every person who has ever felt too broken, too hidden, too far from what they were meant to be. It is about the long years when no one is watching, the wandering that looks like failure but is actually formation, the broken sword that will one day be named or made whole. Not all that is gold glitters, not all those who wander are lost, and the crownless will be